Yo everyone, welcome to my predictions and breakdown of the entire UFC 317 Topuria versus Oliveira fight card, and this card is really good guys, but I'll be honest, the main event has two massive fan favorites going in there, and I can just tell after the fight, there's going to be a lot of sad fans regardless of who wins or loses, and not only that, these fights on this card all seem pretty close to me. We could have another card where a lot of underdogs end up winning coming fight night. Before we get into the video, however, let's quickly recap the last UFC card and talk about our channel results as well. For UFC Fight Night, Hill vs Roundtree Jr., I'll put some timestamps in the comments below if you guys want to skip this at all. To get this out though and out of the way, I thought the main event was a little lackluster in terms of output in some of the rounds, but Khalil Roundtree had a great game plan against Jamal Hill. Basically took him to school in this fight, attacked the absolute shit out of his legs, rocked him, dropped him multiple times in the fight. Congrats to him. It's sad, of course, for my main event underdog pick being wrong, but it is what it is, guys. Card overall was middling, though. There were some really solid performances, though, most notably Nazim Sadikov's KO over Nicholas Motta. That was an insane fight. Most enjoyable fight on the card by far. One of the biggest underdogs on the card, Seok Ko, who we did actually end up picking, guys, actually dominated Oban Elliott, which was insane to see. His grappling was truly impressive. Actually a lot stronger than I thought it even would be. Insane body lock and control to get top position every single time that he took down Oban Elliott. Midabek Oralbai also had insane grappling as well in his fight. First round sub for him. Happy with the card overall, guys. Not happy staying up until 8:30 a.m. on a Sunday to watch the entire thing. Definitely not worth it, but I guess I do love torturing myself, guys. In regards to the results on the card, though, for whoever is curious, we went 8-12 on the card, which was actually really good with a lot of underdogs winning on the card. In terms of my betting guide results, I'll put them up on the screen for you guys now. We did really well on almost all bets on the guide. I even had a chance to cash out my main card parlay early, since the first 5 cards all were correct picks, and all I needed was Jamal Hill to win, but I did decide to not cash out early, which was a mistake now, and knowing the main event result. I also want to congratulate really quickly the 2 subscribers that I picked for the subscribers bet of the week. Both your bets cashed, and I just thought you guys could use a little bit of praise here. Great job, lads. Very solid bets. In total, though, for our results, we made 2.515 units of profit on the card, wagering only 4.35 units total, which is a profit of roughly 58.5% on our bets, which I'm pretty ecstatic about, guys. I think I'm improving in creating my bets and identifying solid underdogs overall, so I'm really happy with the results. Anyways, though, I've recapped the card for you guys there and the channel results as well, but we are here for UFC 317 and we're looking to destroy this next card on picks and on bets, so stay tuned in this video for all the fighter info I'm going to be laying out for you guys here. I will be posting the full card betting guide for this card later on this week when the bet lines are fully out, so you guys can see all the bets I'm thinking about for this card. And if you want to be a part of the betting guide by becoming the subscribers bet of the week, please go into the comment section below and let me know what your favorite bets are for this card, and I will be taking one person's bet to add to the betting guide for this week. This may be a specific bet I like, or even the top comment with the most likes on the video. If you think you've got a solid bet in mind, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below, and you could be like these 2 gentlemen here with their bets being highlighted in the next guide. Let's finally jump into the video though, guys. I'll be starting with the prelims and working my way all the way to the main event. Timestamps are in the description and the comment section below if you'd like to skip to any fight in particular. We're going to be starting with the first fight of the card, which is Niko Price versus Jacobe Smith. And I don't know who puts these fights together, but whoever it is, this guy doesn't like Niko Price almost certainly. I'm not going to spend too much time breaking this one down. Jacobe Smith by finish will happen. I'm pretty certain of it. I think it's close to 100% certainty at this point. There is too much of a difference in almost every attribute. Like, what the hell? Who put this fight together, guys? Jacobe Smith will be the better striker. He'll be the more powerful striker for sure. He should be able to take down Niko Price as well in this fight, pretty much at will. And he should be able to work ground and pound if he wants to, but I don't even think he'll really need it. This is just a complete mismatch. I'd be surprised if Niko Price made it out of the first round. That's pretty much where I'm going to leave it for this prediction. Jacobe Smith by finish, most likely by KO in the first round. That's my official prediction for this fight. Niko, at this point in his career, is just way too slow, guys. He's way too open on the feet, and I have a bad feeling about a vicious KO coming in this fight. Moving on to Jhonata Diniz versus Alvin Hines, and this is going to be a bit of an interesting matchup, but it's mainly because it'll probably end in a KO in my opinion. Jhonata Diniz, as far as what I've seen of both guys, will be the more technical, more versatile, and overall the more dangerous striker out of the two. but man, does his takedown defense and ability to get up suck to a degree, guys. He's got a decent sprawl, but just the fact that he can be taken down and held down for pretty much a whole round with little resistance is a very big concern for me in a lot of matchups that are against guys that are looking for takedowns, and Alvin Hines will be looking to mix in takedowns with the striking. But the thing is about Alvin Hines, guys, at least for me, is that he just seems so slow, and on his takedown entries, he's really slow, really sloppy, entering in on the feet as well. Just a little too sloppy for me overall, in my opinion. That's me being honest. That's probably been the tipping point for me to make this pick. Jhonata Diniz should be able to keep distance and work his striking in this matchup. I don't see too much danger for him on the feet in terms of the striking exchanges, just because of the significant skill gap and also the speed gap, in my opinion. So I'm going to say he keeps it striking and gets a first or second round TKO. That's my official prediction for this fight, guys. Jhonata Diniz is the pick here. Moving on to Sedriques Dumas versus Jackson McVey. And this is a very interesting one here because I actually had seen a highlight or two of Jackson McVey before writing this script and doing this video, and I thought this guy was good and had some solid attributes, but the level of his opponents has always been in question, of course. But the thing is, he's doing what you should do against these types of opponents. I'm pretty sure he's never gone to decision in his pro career or amateur career. This guy gets a finish no matter what in his fights, and honestly, I'm surprised he's opened as an underdog in this one. I expect that to change, getting closer to fight night for sure, because I will be picking Jackson McVey as an underdog to get this one done. He's dangerous everywhere. Expect him to be pressuring forward and trying to get into the clinch. And then once he gets to that clinch, knees after knees after knees. That's going to be his biggest weapon in this fight. For a tall guy, he does his best work in close. And Dumas has been known to struggle with pressure-heavy fighters, so it makes this pick a lot more confident for me. I do worry a little bit about Dumas's ground game since he's actually quite well-rounded, but I just think this one's going to stay on the feet and be relatively scrappy. I'm going to go with Jackson McVey by first or second round finish. That's my official prediction. I'm going to go with the underdog here, but I do expect that to change, and I do expect him to be the favorite very soon. Moving on to Terrance McKinney versus Viacheslav Borshchev, and I think this one is pretty easy for a lot of people to just go and pick Terrance McKinney here, since if you've seen a Terrance McKinney fight, he's an absolute menace in the first round of fights, and he will be absolutely looking to walk through Viacheslav Borshchev in the first round of this fight. But man, does Terrance slow down like crazy after a round and a half of work, guys. He's really a finish or be finished type of fighter, guys, and although he's really dangerous, he's also incredibly open on the feet, so this makes this a very tricky pick in my opinion. We've seen Borshchev rocked a few times before, we've seen him dropped, but most of the time, he seems to scramble well on the ground, and he has an overall good ability to recover, and I'm wondering if I can rely on that ability to tank that damage, recover if he's hurt in the early rounds, and last out the first round against McKinney, because if he does, I could see McKinney slowing down after that first round, like he usually does, and Viacheslav Borshchev keeping a solid pace and winning this fight, most likely by decision, taking the second and third rounds on the feet. McKinney is really well-rounded. I think if he fights smart, he could just take down Viacheslav Borshchev in the first round and work his submission or ground and pound game, but I don't really know, guys. It really does end up falling on to whose style you prefer more. In this case, to me, I think if Viacheslav doesn't get knocked out, or if he doesn't get finished in the first round, he probably wins more often than not, in my opinion. And I don't know if he gets finished a lot of times out of 10 early on in this matchup. So if that's what I think, I'll be siding with the underdog Viacheslav Borshchev to get this one done here by decision, 29-28 after losing the first round. He's a hard dude to finish on the feet. Will McKinney really be able to steamroll a pretty technical striker in Borshchev? It'd be pretty impressive to me if he was able to do that. I've seen McKinney fumble a steamroll looking type win before. He could definitely get the first round steamroll finish, but I'm just slightly leaning towards durability and the pace of Borshchev. That's my pick, guys. Moving on to Viviane Araujo versus Tracy Cortez. And this is a very, very 50-50 fight for me, guys. I initially was thinking about going with Viviane Araujo over Tracy Cortez, just because I believe she's going to be the better striker overall in this matchup. Tracy has struggled with strikers that have the range advantage over her, combined with having better footwork and moving around on the outside, picking their shots. And Araujo does that pretty well, and I do think she will cause trouble for Tracy in this fight and potentially be able to outdamage her tit for tat to get the win. But Tracy Cortez mixing in her takedowns with her striking will probably be the way this fight goes. It's not super easy to take down Araujo, don't get me wrong, guys, but it requires someone to mix in well the takedowns with the striking, which Tracy Cortez can do. I also think Tracy will have the wrestling and grappling advantage in this fight, and the pace at which she fights at, I think she will be the fresher of the two going into the third round of this fight, and I almost feel like saying I could guarantee she wins the third round of this fight off that pace, since Araujo seems to slow down in her fights going into the third. She is also a little open herself and has gotten dropped a few times in her last few fights, and Tracy Cortez does have a bit of pop in her shots, which is another concern for her. I'm going to be siding with Tracy Cortez to get this one done by decision win as well, probably 29-28 in a close fight. I'm going to say maybe split decision. I think the odds should be a little bit closer though, in my opinion. Moving on to Hyder Amil versus Jose Delgado, and this is going to be an absolute banger. This is an absolute banger of a matchup. I remember putting a bet on Jose Delgado to get a KO in the first round recently, and he did it against Conor Matthews, and I knew this guy was solid. He's dangerous. He's a finisher type of fighter, that's for sure, and everyone else should know who Hyder Amil is. I'm sure everyone saw the 20-something shot combo that he threw against Jung Yong Lee. He finished him in that fight with that combo. And even most recently, he's coming off a win over William Gomez in a very close fight, but William Gomez is a tough opponent for anyone, so that was very impressive to me. And the thing is with this fight, regardless of who wins or loses, like I said, it's going to be a sick fight for sure. I could really see Jose Delgado catching and putting away Hyder Amil in this fight, since he comes in a little recklessly when he closes the distance, and the octagon is also a bigger size in this one, so he should be able to keep the distance in this one a little bit better to pepper him and land at range. But I also do think potentially about an untested gas tank of Jose Delgado against a really solid high-paced having opponent. And I'm wondering, if Hyder Amil does what he normally does against people, will Jose Delgado be able to handle it whilst keeping a high pace of his own? If Hyder Amil works in his single legs and clinching, will Jose Delgado start to wilt more as the fight goes on? I'm starting to believe it, guys. I'm starting to really believe it. I'm starting to think that if Jose Delgado doesn't hurt Hyder Amil in the first or second round of this fight and put him away, we could be looking at a Hyder Amil win in this fight. I'm going to make the prediction right now that if Jose Delgado doesn't catch and put away Hyder Amil in this fight, I'm going to say that this fight ends up being very close, potentially a split decision, and Hyder Amil wins this fight with his pace. That's my official prediction for this fight, guys. I'm going to go with another underdog here, but it's a close fight. A lot of these fights are close. Moving on to Jack Hermansson versus Gregory Rodriguez. Very interesting fight here. I'm sure a lot of people are going to draw comparisons to Hermansson's last fight and his opponent, Joe Pyfer. Heavy hitter with a wrestling and ground game that could be mixed in. But I do think Gregory is a lot more dangerous than Joe Pyfer in a lot of ways. He's a lot more careful in how he sets up the power blows. He's a lot more comfortable when he's hurt his opponents, and he does seem to like looking for the BJJ ideas. I also think, although his Cannonier fight was a loss, it showed a lot of good things about Gregory Rodriguez as well. He was smart enough to realize he went a little too hard in the first round of the fight. The fight was a 5-round fight, so he ended up slowing his pace down in the second round to recuperate, and he came out harder in the third round of the fight as far as what it looked like to me, and I think that shows good fight IQ and overall good corner work. And I also think that won't be too much of an issue in this fight, since the fight is only 3 rounds. I expect Gregory Rodriguez to go pretty hard for the first 2 rounds of the fight and potentially slow down as it goes into the third round. But at that point, if he hasn't finished Hermansson by then, he's pretty much already won the fight, because I really don't see Hermansson just like brutally knocking out Gregory Rodriguez on the feet, nor do I see Hermansson taking down and working his BJJ against someone as solid on the ground as Gregory Rodriguez. So I do think either Gregory Rodriguez wins this fight by KO early or a 29-28 decision win. That's my official prediction for this fight, KO or decision. Moving on to the main card now, Payton Talbott versus Felipe Lima. And before we even get into this pick, guys, if you like the video you're watching and want to see more videos from me, please leave a like and subscribe if you aren't already, just to show some support for the channel to help it grow as well. I appreciate it a lot, guys. It helps me out. Now to jump into this matchup, though, and how the mighty have fallen, guys. Payton Talbott was literally a minus 1,200 favorite against Raoni Barcelos and sort of just got crafty vetted in the last fight, lost very clearly and almost got finished as well. And now not only is he not a big favorite in his next fight, he's literally an underdog now, which is pretty insane to me, but it's very understandable if you know who Felipe Lima is. but it's still an insane drop-off in terms of what the odds makers see now. Felipe Lima is the full package, guys. He's extremely well-rounded. He's dangerous. He's got high fight IQ. He's got a great decision-making ability in the octagon. He's an extremely quick dude. Extremely freaking quick, guys. I think Payton Talbott is really good, though. Don't get me wrong, but he did showcase how lax he is in some of the grappling situations and positions against Raoni Barcelos, and I also think he showed when you mix in the grappling, it leaves him more defenseless on the feet than usual because Raoni was able to pepper him sometimes when there was an opening for it on the feet. And if Payton Talbott has not improved his takedown defense or scramble ability going into this fight, I'm afraid this performance is going to look a little similar to his performance against Raoni Barcelos because Diego is a way better striker with an insane amount more momentum behind him. I'm going to go with Diego Lima by decision win in this fight, or maybe even by submission, by mixing in the grappling with his striking and having success both on the feet and on the ground. Payton is still very dangerous though, guys. Lima isn't the greatest defensively as well, so it could be a great underdog opportunity for a lot of people here, but I am going to go with the more well-rounded guy. Moving on to Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicano. And this is a super tough fight for me to pick, guys. I actually did go back to my script for UFC 311 just to see who I ended up picking to win. I actually completely forgot who I picked to win, guys, so if you believe that. And for those who haven't seen that video, I'll summarize it really quickly for you now. I did say in that video that I think the fight's going to be close. I am going to side with the momentum of Renato Moicano in a very close fight, potentially close decision win. That's what I said, guys. That's what I did end up saying. I did have a bit more reasoning in the video, though, but it was mainly because of Beneil coming off of 2 back-to-back KO losses and Moicano being on the run that he was on with the momentum he had. But I do think I'm starting to change my mind here a little bit, or at least look at a few things a little differently. I don't think Moicano gets Beneil down, or if he does, I don't think he'll be able to hold him down. I don't think that's crazy to say at all, because if you've watched Beneil versus Gamrot, you know how hard Beneil is to hold down or take down in general. So this fight to me is going to be a 3-round fight on the feet, a back and forth battle on the feet against one another, and I'm really struggling to think of who's better here. I think Beneil is more versatile. I think I like how he stays at range, really lovely kicks from there, and when a wrestler or someone enters in close, he's also looking for that knee, and he times it very well. Moicano has improved a lot in his kickboxing though, and he's got a pretty solid and fast 1-2 down the pipe, and he actually ends a lot of combinations with his jab, which is something I really like as well. But this is tough, guys. I don't really know too much. I think I'm starting to lean towards Beneil Dariush to win a close decision on the feet here, and the crazy thing is, if all these losses hadn't happened to Beneil Dariush, I think I'd be feeling relatively confident as well to pick him. But I'm just worried now if he has one foot out the door at this point in his career. Both guys are 36, but Moicano, I think, will be a bit closer to the top after this win than a Beneil Dariush, just because of the manner how Beneil lost and who he lost to, whereas Moicano lost only on short notice to the champion. And I will also say this, I'll add this on too as well. I actually am a pretty decent fan of Moicano, like a lot of people are, so don't think I'm leaning Beneil because I don't like him or something, guys. I just am picking Beneil Dariush here. Official prediction though, I am going to go with Beneil Dariush to win a close decision victory over Renato Moicano. That might actually be the first time I've changed a prediction from an old video now. Hopefully it doesn't go wrong, guys. Moving on to the feature fight of the card, Brandon Royval versus Joshua Van. And this is a banger of a fight, guys, but I wish Joshua Van wasn't taking this on short notice. I'll hate it if he loses this one versus Royval. Joshua Van should be slowly becoming everyone's favorite fighter amongst the UFC community. I know he's become a part of my collection of favorite fighters in the UFC, but the question is, how does he stack up against Royval, and does he do enough here to get the win? And I'll be honest, if we look at this stylistically, and it's funny because this was an imaginary matchup I was talking about with my friend not long ago, before the fight was announced, so I've had a bit of time to think this through, and I think personally, Joshua Van is a stylistic nightmare for someone like Royval. That's the conclusion I came to a while ago. He will be the better boxer. He can match Royval pace for pace. but he actually has an even higher pace than Royval, and I think they are similar in power as well, in my opinion. I also think that Joshua Van has shown now that he's not getting taken down easily, and I think if Royval was to mix in the takedowns, which I don't even think he will in this fight, I don't think Joshua Van is getting taken down or even thinking about playing in Royval's guard on top position. I expect Joshua Van to hurt Royval multiple times in this fight. Maybe Royval plays guard and Joshua Van decides to let him back up again and again, similar to his fight recently against Bruno Silva. I think he gets a late rounds finish or wins a dominant decision win here. And of course, guys, I will say this, of course I could be wrong, and the main reason I struggle to fully commit to this pick and put Joshua Van in my confident picks list is mainly because this fight is on short notice, guys. Joshua Van literally fought 2 to 3 weeks ago. This is a ridiculous turnaround. Brandon Royval is also, as of right now, pretty much the second best guy apart from Pantoja at the top, just above Moreno for me. So this isn't a walk in the park with a full training camp, let alone taking this one on short notice. Even with all the things that I've said in terms of the stylistic matchup, it's a tough one, guys. I'm going to go with Joshua Van here, though, just because of those things I mentioned about the styles, but I wish he didn't take this fight on short notice. I really do think that this fight is going to be sick, though, and an absolute war is incoming, guys. Moving on to the co-main event, though, Alexandre Pantoja versus Kai Kara-France. And I just want to start off by saying I saw the odds on screen. I was actually surprised that Pantoja wasn't a bigger favorite going into this fight. I think he's proven time and time again that he's extremely durable, and his pressure, pace, and grappling is just too much for a lot of these guys in the division. But Kai Kara-France has one of the hardest punches in the division, the great equalizer. That's why I believe the odds makers have made this fight a little bit closer. But guys, I really do just feel that Pantoja is going to be too much for Kai Kara-France, pressure-wise and grappling-wise, and I think I could almost guarantee, win or lose, that Pantoja gets the body lock and is on Kai Kara-France's back at least one time in this fight. And having Pantoja on your back one time is more than enough to get submitted, in my opinion. And I've seen Kai Kara-France taken down and literally almost submitted with someone on his back, body lock fully in, multiple times in his career, and quite recently too as well. If I remember correctly, I think it was the Askar Askarov fight. Askar Askarov had him in a bit of trouble there. I don't know, guys. I feel relatively confident with the Pantoja pick. I really do think he gets this fight to the ground and gets a submission win here. Pantoja by submission, early rounds is my official prediction for this fight. I'm going to say within the first 3 rounds. I'll add him to my confident picks list as well. I honestly think he's pretty good value at his current odds, maybe even to place in a couple of parlays. That's my personal opinion. Moving on now to the main event of the card, guys. Holy fuck. Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira. And I'm sad. I'm sad because I know what needs to be done, as they say. But do I have the strength to do it? I wasn't strong enough to pick against Volk, I don't think. I definitely wasn't strong enough to pick against Max. I'm picking Ilia Topuria to finish Charles Oliveira by KO in the first 2 rounds of this fight. I've said it, guys. I can't take it back now. I hope with all my being that it doesn't happen. I really do. And I mean, I really do want Charles Oliveira to win this fight. More than anything, I want Charles to win this fight. Ilia Topuria is so good, guys. I'm sure a lot of people are fans. I'm a fan of his style, of course, but I just can't seem to like the guy, and it's probably because he's on a run of knocking out literally all my favorite fighters in the UFC. We need Charles to get him, guys. We need him to get him by a ghillie or something. We need him to get him, lock something in early in a scramble, after they're going back and forth on the feet. That would be really epic. That would be the best case scenario for me. I don't give a shit if my pick is wrong at all. But if I'm being realistic here, guys, getting back to the prediction, I think Charles is going to struggle a lot with the pressure, the speed, the overall striking of Topuria. And when you take those things away from Charles, I don't want to see what happens, guys. I think there is some hope lying with me, though, because I haven't put Ilia Topuria on my confident picks list, and that's because Charles might be the first person to consistently try to put Topuria on the back foot in this fight, and I don't know how many of his opponents even were trying to back up Topuria too much, let alone do it successfully. So if Charles is able to be aggressive like he usually is, not get hurt, gets the tight clinch, starts landing those knees and elbows that will be available against the shorter Ilia Topuria, things could get interesting, guys. We can only dream, you know? We can only dream. My official prediction, though, I'm going to go with Ilia Topuria by KO early. His boxing might be some of the best we've ever seen in the UFC, and it's hard to imagine someone like Charles, who gets hurt a lot in his fights, surviving the onslaught and power of Topuria. But make no mistake, guys, My heart will be with Charles Oliveira. I'll be wearing my Do Bronx shirt during the main event. That's my prediction for the main event, guys. And that wraps up my full card predictions and breakdown for the entire UFC 317 Topuria versus Oliveira fight card. And if you guys have any thoughts or any questions for me regarding the card, feel free to leave a comment and I'll do my best to respond to every single comment left in the comment section below. Thanks for watching and see you guys next time.